Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Maddie if you're new. Today I have a very exciting video planned for you. I personally cannot wait to dive into this. We're going to be looking at over 100 years of Architectural Digest magazine covers. I think I discovered a new hobby, which is going to thrift stores and looking for old magazines and like finding old print ads and things like that. I don't know why, I think it's just so fun, but it inspired me to look up what Architectural Digest used to look like back when it started. I had no idea when it started. That is the first magazine that I ever subscribed to as a kid. If you don't know, I am a graphic designer, a UX designer, but I'm also really interested in interior design and kind of like all things design. That's been the case since I was a kid. I loved Architectural Digest, and so I just thought it would be fun to really go back into the archives and look at every single cover and really show you guys how it's evolved. I'm not going to show you guys every single cover, but I screenshotted a lot and we're going to go through them and talk through them. The Architectural Digest magazine started in 1922. I had no idea it was that old. I would have guessed that it started maybe in like the mid-century, you know, like the 50s. No, it has been around since the 20s. The design of the covers has obviously evolved a ton since then. There have been some highs and some lows, and I really just want to look through all of them with you and talk about them. So that's exactly what we're going to do, starting from the beginning. So this is what the cover of the January 1922 magazine looked like. Very old. Like, I don't even know what to say about this because it's just so old. It's very, I guess, ornate. This is Southern California edition. That's interesting. It literally says 1922 AD. Oh, I guess that means Architectural Digest. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I thought it meant like... Okay, anyway, moving on. Also, I really want to like drink a fun drink during all my videos where I'm like sitting down and talking to you guys, but I have this problem where I literally can't drink caffeine and I try not to drink too much sugar. So if anyone has like fun drink ideas for me, I would really actually appreciate them. This is a pomegranate lemonade, really watered down, and it's good. It's pretty good. Okay, here's the next one. The very next year, I can barely see this, so we're just gonna move on. It's like this burgundy with purple letters. It's really hard to see, and I'm not really sure about that one. We're still in the very ornate era here. We're in 1926 now. This font has definitely changed. A pictorial digest of California's finest homes. So I'm getting that this started in California, and this is not back in a time where we could really collaborate super easily between, you know, states. Like, these people aren't finding fun homeowners on social media or designers and, you know, getting them to contribute to the magazine. I have a feeling it's all happening in California at this point. Okay, next, this is February of 26, so they're starting to do a couple per year here. This is 27, so at least we're getting like a little bit of contrast, like at least this I can actually see. Okay, and we're back, but there is a little bit of color in this one, so that's cool. We're doing a lot of like exteriors and archways, lots of archways. I'm pretty sure archways is like the main thing that's carried through these last few. So that is the 20s. Next, we're gonna go into the 30s. We're definitely still in like the outdoor architecture. This type is kind of interesting. This outline, I really actually like that. I think that's actually very cool. It looks like we're using kind of a different font each time, but maybe like this looks similar, but definitely different from this. So not a ton of consistency, but we definitely do have like an image in the middle and the Architectural Digest title usually on the like bottom right. So that's some consistency there. Yep, still doing that. 1933. Here we've got a different layout, but we're back with the like really ornate sort of viney details. This, we're starting to get very different. So we've got the ornate sort of border just on the left here and a very maybe Gothic font. Now, very different. Okay, so these are really evolving fast. So This typeface completely different from this one. And we've also got a completely different layout. We just have the text overlaid on a full bleed image here. So that's completely different. This is the last one of the 30s. So now moving into the 40s, this is where the real consistency begins. Like when you see Architectural Digest magazine now, you kind of know what the layout is going to look like. It hasn't changed for quite a bit, which we will see. But this is when that actually starts, is 1941. We're seeing this real consistency. So still no color images, so I'm bored, but we've got, sometimes they're using this stripe down the left side. They're using this font, which I might describe as kind of Art Deco, though this is a bit after the Art Deco movement. We're just seeing maybe now a lot of pillars and still outside shots. This is more maybe like California cottage vibes, as opposed to the more ornate images we were seeing before. This is finally an interior shot, another outside shot, but again, we're not seeing any variation really in the text. It's all sort of these, the same font, the same exact layout. And now we're starting to see kind of like the mid-century modern interiors come in here, which is kind of cool. Okay, next is the 50s. So in the 50s, we're still seeing that same font here. Not changing it up a whole lot. Maybe a different layout here. We've got this box, which is different. And we've got, yep, again, they're doing the box with the left border. Not a whole lot different in the 50s. In the 60s, we're really starting out the same exact layout here and here as well. Same layout. Now we're getting a little bit different. This is the very first one where they're using color, which is exciting. This was fall of 1964. First use of color. So we're just doing a box with a color image inside and that same exact masthead design. The masthead is this, if you're not familiar. The Architectural Digest, the title of the magazine. That's what they call the masthead. Okay, so very similar. Oh, we're starting to see a background color, which is really exciting. June 1965. Fall of 1965, we're seeing a different background color. And then from fall of 65 to summer of 66, we're seeing a completely different masthead. Architectural Digest, they've dropped the, and we're just doing Architectural Digest in this completely different font, completely different layout, still doing this box though. And now we've added a tagline. The quality guide to more, okay, sorry, I can't see. The quality guide to home decorating ideas. Love that. The background color can change and they're sort of matching it with whatever image they're using. Same here, winter of 67. We've got that nice royal blue matching those couches. Same layout here, same layout. 1967. Now we're in the 70s. So same layout here, not much has changed. This is the last one of this layout, summer 1970. This next one, we have another really big jump from this to this. This is starting to look more like the ones I collected as a kid. This is still March of 1971. So this is so long ago, but this is the first one where I was like, ooh, that looks a little bit like the layout of the ones that I used to get in the mail as a kid. So let's see, we've also changed the tagline completely. So along with changing this font, which I do like this font a lot. I think it's really nice. Okay, the Connoisseur's Magazine of Fine Interior Design. I like that they're changing the tagline a bit here and there. They're really kind of trying to elevate things maybe. So this is March through April of 71. Sticking with that same layout for a while here. May of 71, but they are switching up the colors of the background, which keeps things interesting. I really like these designs or this layout. It's simple, of course, but I do really like it. Here in 74, we're doing something a little bit different. So we've got that same masthead and the same tagline, but now for the first time, we're calling out some of the content in the magazine on the cover. So Rob's John Gibbings in Greece, fashion designer, something something decorators ideas. They're really just calling out what you're gonna see in this issue of the magazine, which of course nowadays we see that a lot. Like if you go into any grocery store, that's basically what you're seeing on the cover of magazines, is like the drama that you can, read about if you buy the magazine and look inside. It's obviously not that kind of magazine, but it is still interesting. Not till 1974 did they start to kind of give you a hint of what's going to be on the inside of the magazine. They do that again here in just a slightly different layout. I think I like this one better. In this one, they're stacking it kind of centered here. So they're kind of just switching back and forth between these layouts of the sort of text that comes out here. This is one of my favorite images, I think. Look how crazy, like the wallpaper that matches the bedding, that matches the curtains over the bedding. Crazy. And they've got the wallpaper on the ceiling. I think that's cool. From here to here, they have changed the tagline again, and they've dropped the call outs. So now the tagline is International Magazine of Fine Interior Design. This one's kind of cool here. It says the last one of the 70s, December 1979. Kind of a cool dark photo. Moving on, we've got the same layout here starting out in the 80s. So not much is different. They're doing a lot of that white background with the cool, image here. Here I wanted to know, in April 1985, this is the first ever person on a cover. So now whenever we see Architectural Digest, we're almost always, I guess we'll see when we get, more modern here, but we're almost always seeing a person on the cover, and that is something that really draws us in. If we know, like, oh, the celebrities, like in movies right now, like I want to see what their home looks like that kind of thing. That's like very integral to magazines these days, and Architectural Digest is no different. So it's interesting that only in 85 did they start putting people on the cover, and you'll see they don't always put people on the cover here in the 80s. That was like the first one, and they don't do it again for quite a few months, which is just super interesting. So next we have this. They start to do some new editions. So this is a collector's edition, the English Country House. So they're doing like just kind of a special edition. I'm breezing through because these are all very similar. We have another person here, though I could not for the life of me figure out who this was. I also couldn't figure out who this is. If you know who these people are, feel free to let me know, but I could not figure it out for the life of me. Okay, this one is the United States ambassador and his wife. So I don't really know what their significance is. Again, I don't know much about history, but they're on the cover. And we're going back into No People. This I thought was super interesting. This, like, I guess installation art. I should have looked up what that was, but it's just really cool. They're getting a little more experimental here. This threw me. So, okay, we're going from this to this, back to this. So I don't know if this is another special edition. Oh yeah, this is an architecture special edition. So it's interesting that it has a completely different design, like a completely different font from the masthead too, which is, yeah, just kind of odd, but kind of cool. Going back to the same old. This was kind of a cool one. Kind of looks like a painting. It might be a painting. And then we start to get into the colored mastheads, which I love. I think this is one of my favorite eras. So we're at the end of the 80s here. This is pretty cool. So they're doing a different color every masthead. I don't think this is a different layout. I think just the image that I found online was cut off. So ignore that. Again, we're doing dark green. So really kind of fun there. All right, now we're getting into the 90s. So not a whole lot has changed yet. We're still doing the colored masthead, kind of matching the color in the magazine here. So this is a special edition that they do, the 80-100, and that's what it looked like that year. It's interesting. So we're back to the normal, February 1991. This is another 80-100 Architects. I don't particularly like that design. And now in 1992, they started doing a before and after edition every February for a long time. And I think that was a really cool idea. Like, even still, we love a before and after. Their before and after 93. It's always in February. All right, we've got this guy on the cover in July. This is the first person I actually recognized on the cover. This is Winona Ryder, May of 94. So that was kind of exciting to finally see like an actress that I know. So that means we're really getting into it. I'm about to be born. I was born in 1995. It's kind of a fun one. But we haven't changed the layout in quite a while now. So July 1995, December 1995, still the same layout, same masthead. So now this is May of 1996, and this is July of 1996. And they have changed the masthead. So it's kind of hard to see, but it is a slightly different font. Here is what it was like before and after. And if you look at the E's, I think it's easiest to tell with the E's. It's obviously not too crazy, but it is a change in a font, which is kind of cool. This says, including Michael Keaton at his Western Ranch. So they're starting to really appeal to the fact that you might want to see celebrities' homes. Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan. Somewhere along the way, they've updated the tagline to be an international magazine of interior design and architecture, which is slightly different than it was before. We've got Tina Turner. At the turn of the century, we are in 2000. This is March 2000. But they're still not doing people on the cover every single time, which I think is cool. We've got Rob Lowe, and this is the first time that they're calling out lead articles and supporting cover lines. Before, if you'll remember, they just had them like very small text at the top and no one story was different from another or more important. This, we've started doing like lead articles and these supporting cover lines here. So lead articles, Rob Lowe, the West Wing star at home in California, and these are those supporting cover lines. This is where it starts to get just a little bit more crowded on the page. So yeah, this is probably where it starts to get a little bit ugly for me personally. Like this, I'm not loving at all. I don't know who Kelsey Grammer is, but yeah, no offense, but I don't want to see your toes on Architectural Digest magazine. Like, no, I don't really like that. This little thumbnail image of this couple overlaid onto a pretty room, which I'm not a huge fan of. Ralph Lauren has been on the cover of Architectural Digest so many times, which is kind of funny, but I love Ralph Lauren. I had to show you this one because I am obsessed with Dennis Quaid, and also look at his horse and 4 dogs, his Montana ranch. Oh, I'm obsessed with him. I really love Dennis Quaid. That's October 2003. We've got the AD 100. So this is nicer. This is a more intentional way of overlaying text on an image. I think that looks nice. This too, I think that looks better than like these. I don't like those ones. So we've got Diane Keaton. Again, I like how they've got her here. She kind of feels more a part of her space. And the type is more intentional. This threw me. What are we doing with the background color here? You can barely see the silver text on the blue background. That is weird. Interesting. They're starting to do background colors. So we've got the red background here, Hollywood at home. And they decided, no, this is not working. We're going back to the white background, which I think is probably smart. This is really bad. Like, what is this block over top of it? I do not like that. That's ugly. So that's July 2009. Now we're moving into the 2010s. So we have a new cover story font. So Jennifer Aniston in her home, you can tell this is very different from the fonts we were seeing before, but we've got same masthead, same everything, International Magazine of Design. They're changing the tagline left and right. We're experimenting with different like text on image. I think this is not bad. This I'm not loving. We've got several different fonts going on. And this picture of Rob Lowe, like, it's like, why is this all about Rob Lowe? I want to see like the house, and you're literally just standing in front of like a very standard fireplace. So to me, that's not good. But again, these are my opinions. The International Design Authority, we're changing again our tagline. And we've got this. I do not like this. People used this so much on magazine covers. This like really high contrast, like really thick and then really thin. It's not easy to read, and it's frankly ugly. But oh my gosh, in the 2010s, this is what everyone was using on the cover of magazines. So it's getting to be a little much. This I don't mind. This looks a little bit more intentional to me. Again, this font I hate. This is, I made a note, starting to dislike. I started to dislike a while ago, but I'm really starting to dislike this and this. Like, what I don't like is that it starts to become more about the people than the design. I feel like the people need to feel actually at home in the space, or needs to feel less staged, which we'll start to see when that starts to get a lot better. It's when the people like are part of the photo shoot, and it's not just like, oh, you're in a nice outfit standing in your home. You'll see what I mean. This is March 2014. Again, like Nate and Jeremiah, I love them. Their house is really nice. But you're just like wearing outfits standing in front of your fire. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I don't like that. I also don't like that this text is giant. It's like bigger than the masthead. I don't like that. And I don't like that here either. This is maybe getting a little better. I think I like this font better. December 2016. Yeah, better, but also nothing special here that we're seeing. Okay, big change. From February 2017 to April 2017, we're seeing a completely different masthead. So we're going from this to what we see now. This AD masthead with Architectural Digest smaller above, International Design Authority. I've grown to like the AD logo. I think soon they'll probably change it because it's been around since 2017, but I do like it. I don't dislike it at all. And I like what they do with it better in the coming years, which you'll see. Okay, so April 2017, first time we're seeing this new masthead, and they stick with it. My same gripe with these ones is like, I don't know, they're maybe starting to feel a little bit more at home in the photograph, but nothing that's super impressing me in terms of the photography yet. And we are in the last year of the decade, December 2019. This is kind of interesting. They don't do this like ever again, but this tilted text on the cover is pretty cool. Now we're moving into this decade. So we're in March of 2020. They've really started to do more of a minimalistic, intentional approach to the cover design and the cover photo, which I really appreciate. I think this is when I start to really like the covers again. It's just more thought out where the text is going, you know, what the model is wearing, like what the person in it is wearing. Like you can see in this one, Kendall Jenner is very much dressed to go with her space, and therefore the photo is just better. They've kind of put the text around it in a more intentional way, and it's just better designed. For a design magazine, I want the cover photo to look really well put together and like they were anticipating having to overlay text instead of just, you know, overlaying it in a way that feels too busy and crowded. This is nice. I like how they've done like a really bright green here. Cara Delevingne, I watched her AD house tour on YouTube and it was really cool. And weird, very weird. As you can see, she literally lives in a fun house. But this is a cool one, how they've done the type to really feel like a part of the image. Casey Musgraves. This is March 2023, just last year. They're very much like not the star of the show, which is cool. Like they're just there in the photo, almost like a little bit more candid. November 2023 here. We've still got a few where there are not people featured in it, which I kind of like. I love Emma Roberts, so I screenshotted this one. This one's kind of nice. I think it's cool how this art face is bigger than her face. I think that's, I don't know, kind of a cool cover. And September 2024, this month here, designer and activist Aurora James. I don't actually know who that is, but I might have to look it up. I really like this cover. I just think like the sort of focal points are really on point. We've got the masthead here, she's over here, cover story tagline is here. I just think it's really well balanced and the colors in the photo are really nice. So yeah, now that we're up to the present day, I want to go through and show you really how far this has come, and I would love to know in the comments what your favorite sort of era is, or your favorite style of cover, your favorite masthead, whatever it might be. So, okay, let's just go through really quick. This was the 20s and 30s. This is the 40s and 50s. This is the 60s, very similar, but we're finally adding color. Keeping the same layout here in the 60s, but with a completely different masthead. In the 70s and 80s, similar layout, but we're doing the light backgrounds, completely different masthead, and text just underneath there. Same exact thing in the 90s, but we're starting to see the colored masthead. The 2000s and 2010s are more like this, more people in the photos, and the photos start to be less design reliant and more reliant on like a model per se. In the 2010s, we see the AD masthead that we see today. Still very people focused, but just a bit of a different style, as you can see. Maybe a lot of cooler tones in the 2010s, whereas there were more warmer tones in the 2000s and the 90s. And now in the 2020s, we're really seeing a more artistic and designy approach to the cover in general, where we want to have the model really feeling like a part of the art and the design, which I really love. So I think my favorite eras, I definitely like where we're headed now, but along with that, I think my favorite eras would be like the 70s and 80s. Even though all the covers were pretty similar in this time, in like the late 80s, I think these would be kind of my second favorite, is like the colorful masthead with the pretty photos, and maybe even in the late 70s too with the black masthead, because I feel like they focused more on finding like really interesting interiors at this time. Whereas later on, it started to be just, I don't know, not quite as exciting. So I really kind of like these late 70s covers for sure. Let me know in the comments what your favorite era is, and if you want to see more videos like this. I loved digging into this and would love to make more. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in a future video. Bye!